January 2nd, 2023, 8:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. An entire stadium goes silent. ESPN cuts to commercial. Grown men weep on the sideline. In the heart of a Monday night football game between the Bills and Bengals, Damar Hamlin's body collapses lifelessly onto the turf. No one celebrates the play. No one moves. CPR begins. The world watches a 24-year-old safety fight for his life in real time.
This emotional scene play out in Cincinnati from here in our New York studios. Damar Hamlin, the Pitt grad, 24 years old, administered CPR down, obviously, for an extended period of time.
For most, that's where the story begins. But the truth is, Damar Hamlin has been fighting his entire life. And by the time the lights went out in Cincinnati, he had already survived battles far more brutal than anything between the white lines. Damar was born in 1998 in McKees Rocks, Pennsylvania, a sliver of Rust Belt Pittsburgh known locally as the Rocks. Unemployment was rampant, drug trafficking was normalized, violence was expected. To make it out of McKees Rocks as a young black man, you had two choices: the game or the streets. Damar's father, Mario Hamlin, made the wrong choice. At just 7 years old, Damar watched his dad get sentenced to 3.5 years in prison for drug trafficking. The person who was supposed to protect him was gone, and suddenly, the responsibility of man of the house passed down to a second grader with no warning. His mother, Nina, was the glue. She worked 3 jobs, cleaning buildings by night, running a daycare by day, and managing every second in between. Somehow, she kept food on the table. But even she couldn't protect Damar from the reality outside their front door. By 10, he had witnessed drive-by shootings. By 13, he had lost multiple friends to street violence. And by 15, he had one question eating at him every night: how do I make it out? He wasn't just dodging poverty, he was dodging trauma. It's no surprise that he turned to football. In the chaos of McKees Rocks, football wasn't just a game, it was an escape hatch. Damar wasn't the biggest, he wasn't the fastest, but he was the most desperate. He played football like every snap was his last, because in his neighborhood, it might have been. At Central Catholic High School, he became a lockdown corner with a nose for the ball and a hit stick that made scouts pay attention. Despite offers from schools like Notre Dame and Ohio State, Damar did something few inner-city athletes do: he stayed home. Why? Because his little brother needed him. Because his mother couldn't afford to visit him across the country. Because the family name had been tarnished once, and he was going to restore it from within. He chose the University of Pittsburgh, just 10 minutes from McKees Rocks. That decision would prove bigger than football. At Pitt, Damar was more than just a standout defender. He was a mentor, a counselor, and at times a second father to the teammates who came from similar backgrounds. He never forgot what it felt like to grow up with nothing, and he never let anyone else feel alone.
I had my own day here is like super special. That's, been a dream. It's further than a dream. It's further than I could even dream, to be able to have my own day in my hometown.
Hamlin arrived at Pitt with big expectations and an even bigger heart. But his body had other plans. In his first 2 seasons, injuries plagued him. He played in pain. He sat out in frustration. And most painfully, he watched his teammates rise while he sat on the bench, wondering if he'd ever get a shot. What no one saw was the real war he fought every night: doubt. The same voice that haunted him after losing friends in the street now whispered louder: "You're not good enough. You're not gonna make it. You'll end up just like your dad." But he didn't quit. By his junior year, Hamlin was the heart of Pitt's defense. In 2020, he led the Panthers in tackles, earned all ACC honors, and became one of the most respected leaders in the locker room, not just for what he did, but for what he survived. That same year, he graduated with a degree in communications. For a kid from McKees Rocks, that was a championship in itself. When the 2021 NFL Draft came, Hamlin's name wasn't trending. He wasn't on Mel Kiper's big board. He didn't light up the combine. But in the 6th round, with the 212th overall pick, the Buffalo Bills took a chance. Most 6th-rounders are camp bodies. Afterthoughts. Damar Hamlin saw it differently. This is the front door. I just gotta kick it open. He spent his rookie year on special teams. Quiet, focused, grinding. And then, in 2022, the window opened. When starting safety Micah Hyde went down with a season-ending injury, Hamlin was called up. He wasn't supposed to be ready. He was. He wasn't supposed to make noise. He did. He wasn't supposed to shine under pressure. And yet, he became the heartbeat of the defense. He finished the season with 91 total tackles in just 13 starts. Coaches called him a natural communicator. Teammates called him irreplaceable. Fans? They were just learning his name. The collapse that froze the world. Then came Cincinnati, January 2nd, 2023. First quarter. Bills versus Bengals. After a routine tackle on T. Higgins, Damar Hamlin stood up, then collapsed. Cardiac arrest. His heart stopped. The world stopped. Teammates dropped to their knees in prayer. Medical personnel performed 9 minutes of CPR on the field. Players sobbed. Coaches stared in disbelief. Fans held hands with strangers. America, for the first time in decades, wasn't watching football. They were watching life and death unfold on live TV.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dave Graber. We're continuing our breaking news coverage of the terrifying situation in Cincinnati. Bills safety Damar Hamlin collapsed after making a hit early in the first quarter.
Damar was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. The updates were scarce. For 48 hours, no one knew if he would survive. And yet, he did. 6 days later, he FaceTimed his teammates from his hospital bed. His first words? Did we win? That moment said everything. The competitive fire, the selflessness, the humility, the will to live not for himself, but for his team, his family, his city. What followed was something no NFL player had ever experienced. A living memorial. His jersey became the best-selling item on Fanatics. His foundation, Chasing M's, received over $9 million in donations. He became the face of NFL player safety, mental resilience, and spiritual strength. In February 2023, he was awarded the NFLPA Alan Page Community Award. In July, he was medically cleared to return to football. But this wasn't just about returning to football. This was a man who had already beaten life's blitz. Since his recovery, Hamlin hasn't stayed silent. He's used his voice for change, advocating for widespread access to AEDs, automated external defibrillators, in schools and athletic programs. Pushing for mental health awareness in locker rooms that too often prize toughness over trauma. Speaking out about the dangers of ignoring community struggles like the ones he grew up with in the Rocks. He's no longer just a safety. He's a symbol of hope, of healing, of what it means to rise even when the odds are stacked 6 feet over you. He's visited Congress. He's partnered with nonprofits. He's funded scholarships for kids in Pittsburgh. He's doing more than playing the game. He's changing it. And now, he's back. In 2024, Damar Hamlin returned to full action for the Bills. No longer the story of a kid who collapsed. Now, the story of a man who stood back up. He's not chasing Pro Bowls or endorsement deals. He's chasing something bigger, legacy. In a league filled with scandals, egos, and headlines, Damar's story is refreshingly human. He didn't grow up with privilege. He didn't dominate the headlines. He didn't ask for the spotlight. But when it found him, he made it count. Most NFL stories end with rings, records, or retirement. Damar Hamlin's will end when the kids in McKees Rocks believe they can become more than their zip code. When one more AED in a high school gym saves another life. When a 6th-round pick from a broken neighborhood becomes the reason another kid decides to take the harder, better road. He went from survival to superstardom. And along the way, he reminded us, the toughest hits in life don't come on the field. But if you stand back up after the worst one, you just might change the world. Thanks for watching this deep dive into Damar Hamlin's incredible journey, from the toughest streets of McKees Rocks to battling back on football's biggest stage. If his story inspired you or gave you chills, drop a like and hit that subscribe button for more stories that go beyond the game. Got thoughts on Damar's comeback or what the future holds? Leave your take in the comments below. I read everyone. And if you want more behind-the-scenes looks at the NFL's real heroes, tap the notification bell so you never miss out. Until next time, keep rooting hard and stay relentless. Peace out.